Hey, welcome to the live stream. Today we're telling you why we would move to Mazatlan in 2023, why we would buy a home there. So we'll get right into it. Mai, do you want to give them the first reason why?
Bimba wants to say hi.
Yeah, this is Bimba, if you haven't met her. She's crazy.
So, the first reason why we would like to get a home in Mazatlan is because the city is actually really, really pretty. We love it. It's gorgeous. Uh, the sunsets are amazing. The beach is really blue. So yeah, it's just pretty.
And something else we love about it and why we would buy a home there is because it's one of the rare destinations where it's not only a beach destination, but also you have the colonial part of the city, the part of the city that was settled by Spain several hundred years ago. So it has all that gorgeous Spanish architecture. I really love that aspect of Mazatlan.
Yeah, and it's much more affordable than Querétaro actually.
Yeah.
Everything is way cheaper. We were paying like 20 pesos or 30 pesos for Uber, and also the parking lot, how much it cost?
It was like 1/10 of what parking here in Querétaro is. So it was super affordable compared to Querétaro. That was another reason why we would definitely consider that. But normally when a city or town is more affordable, wages are lower. But you saw a restaurant advertising.
Yeah, actually, we were surprised because we went there with my friends, and the three of us are physical therapists. So we saw that actually they were hiring people to sell cakes, and the how you say, like, the money they were offering to that person who was going to be selling cakes, it's approx the same amount of money that I'm earning as a physical therapist, considering that, well, I'm living in a much more expensive city. So
Yeah.
that shocked us a lot. And not because we don't think it's correct to work as a, like,
Selling cakes at the
I
restaurant.
mean, that's perfectly fine. But it's like, oh my gosh, we can't believe that the city is cheaper and we are earning exactly the same, like working a lot. And we just realized that that's why being a physical therapist here in Querétaro, it's like super hard to get a car, to get like almost everything. So yeah, I was like, I can't believe.
Yeah, like of you and all of your friends who are physical therapists, have any of them been able to buy a car yet? And you've been working for quite a few years.
Actually, not. I mean, you cannot buy a house, you cannot buy a car being a physical therapist. Uh, that's like the main reason why we were struggling when we got the news of my foot surgery, because even though I have the insurance, I cannot afford to pay the 15% that I have to pay of my policy. And yeah, it's just so darn crazy that we are just earning like a pretty low money. Yeah,
But
there is different and
yeah.
cheaper.
But in addition to that, like
Hey, let's go.
now this is all hypothetical because we don't have the money to buy a house. But like if we did, this is why we would seriously consider it. And one of those reasons is when it comes to, if you want to think of it as an investment, when it comes to investments, you generally want to buy something that's out of favor, that not everyone is all hyped up on, because that means prices are lower. But just because the prices are low doesn't mean it's a good buy. However, when you see positive changes taking place at the same time the prices are low, that's when it's almost always a good buy. And that's what I see in Mazatlan right now. There, I see a lot of positive changes taking place. So as you're going throughout the city, you see a lot of really old buildings that need a lot of maintenance and renovations. So the city needs a lot of investment because honestly, that there are a lot of ugly buildings there, even in the nice areas. However, things are changing. You can see a lot of investment coming into the city. They're building like crazy there. Like if you go on one end of the Malecon and look towards the other end, you'll see like somewhere between 6 and 10 cranes that are building various buildings there. So yeah, I see a lot of investment going in there. In addition to that, like right across the street from where we were staying, they were building a couple new hotels and a new mall. There's another new mall that was just built. So right now, it's not a popular place, but there's a lot of investment coming in, and I think it would be a good time to buy.
Yeah, and also it's because people is pretty nice. I mean, a lot of people is asking us like why we are promoting Mazatlan so much or why we're talking about it. But it's actually because we had a really good surprise being there. Uh, of course, we are all concerned about the safety there, and also I was concerned about the safety when we knew everything that was happening. But when you arrive there, it's completely different. Obviously, you have to follow the same like advices we've been saying over and over again about how to travel safety here in Mexico, but we didn't notice anything like wrong with it. And actually, people help you a lot with everything you need, and they recommend you places. So yeah, that's why. We think that people should know more about these places because actually we think that Mazatlan it's not like maybe because of the safety or what's people like listening at the news and things like that what why there's nobody going there, but they should actually it's pretty safe or at least much more than we thought it was.
Yeah, seriously. Like, I mean, the people there are so nice. Like, I cannot stress that enough. They're, in general, Mexicans are pretty nice throughout the country. But there, it was like another level. Almost everyone we ran into, like every Uber driver, taxi driver we had was a super nice.
But also people in the stores and restaurants.
Yeah, that
I
too.
mean, the way they talk to you, it really makes you feel like you're home. And yeah, of course, people in Mexico used to be so friendly, but in this place, it was different. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but yeah, they felt like friends, and that was really nice.
And it feels like everybody is happy to have you there visiting.
Yeah, definitely.
What else? The food. The food.
It's extraordinary. I mean,
I love the food so
fresh
much.
seafood, good meat. Uh, it has everything you would like. I mean, if you are a foodie like us, it's definitely worth it. Uh,
Yeah, I'm a big fan of seafood, and
yeah,
I really love the seafood there.
the shrimps and everything we had there was really really good. But also they had good tacos. All the north part of Mexico had good tacos and flour tortillas. So I definitely fell in love with all food. It was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. What else do we have here? Um, so it doesn't feel like a gigantic city, but it has all the conveniences of a big city. So it has those stores that might make your life a little bit more convenient. Those department stores and big box stores and the malls, and a lot of times when you're like being in a small town can be nice to an extent, but when you don't have those places to shop, it can make life a little bit harder. And having those conveniences, I think, is nice.
And what else? I mean, the weather is nice. They told us that the best time to go it might be like November, December, January. We were like about a couple weeks ago, and it was pretty cold. But they told us it was because there was like
Cold front, or
like cold front, yeah.
yeah,
But that was not normal. And even though we weren't like, well, at least I'm always cold, so I wasn't able to wear my beach clothes. But I was comfortable with just a pair of jeans and a jacket, so it was nice. Being
but some people say that it's too cold there in the winters, and a lot of people say that the water there is too cold. But if I'm going to live in a beach destination year round, for me, I would rather it be like leaning towards the colder end than the hotter end because I've lived like in the Cancun area during the summer and it is miserable. But there in Mazatlan, it's a little bit cooler. The humidity, average humidity levels are maybe like 20% lower or 25% lower. So a few degrees cooler and less humid makes a big difference. And it makes those hotter months of the year a bit more comfortable. Now, that's not to say it doesn't get hot and humid there because it does. Like, if you're expecting a place where it's going to be like Los Angeles weather year round, it's not. It's going to get a lot hotter than that. But like for it being a Mexico beach destination, it's one of the better climates in the summer, I think.
And also, something that I really love about that place is that we really felt like home. And it's not something that we just felt. I mean, like I'm talking about the both of us, but also my friend. We were talking a lot about this, and it really makes you feel like home.
Because we went
So
with we went with two
yeah.
other people
Well,
from
oh yeah, we
Querétaro.
went to with two of my friends. So we thought that somehow you get used to Querétaro, and sometimes it's hard to decide on somewhere else to live. And uh, I think before some of you had asked me if I was considering on moving somewhere else, and actually I said no. But in this case, there were so many things that I liked about Mazatlan that I really could see myself living there. And it's not something that I've felt before. I mean,
Yeah, you told me that one day we were there and Maya was like, we should buy a home here. And she said something along the lines of, I never thought I'd visit a city that I wanted to move to more than Querétaro.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It was just a very nice trip. I'm glad we went there. And yeah, I mean, I don't think you will regret if you take a chance to visit Mazatlan. It's a really nice chance. It's a really nice city, and also about the safety. It's like we were talking with a lot of people that were basically living there, and they say like, yeah, the main issue or the main concern, sorry, about so many people, it's like narco. But actually, narcos, and as Mexicans, we know that narcos will never like attack like the civils or people. It's like if you have troubles with narco or drugs or whatever, of course you can be in troubles with them, but actually they are not that kind of people that
Huh.
go and just kill people because they want to. And in this case, yeah, there are a lot of bad people, and the rates of security or something in Mexico, of course, it's more than evident that it had become higher. But in this case, it's like, okay, if you go to Culiacan, which is like 2 or 3 hours far away from Mazatlan. I don't remember right,
Yeah.
but yeah, of course, there's a lot of narco stuff there. But we weren't even close to Culiacan or anything. We weren't even taking any roads out of Mazatlan. We were just riding the touristic city, like the touristic part of Mazatlan, and everything was perfectly fine. We just saw like maximum a couple of police being around there. So
And generally, like the more police you see, the more National Guard you see, the more dangerous the city is. So, like we drove through Celaya, which is one of the most dangerous cities in Mexico. We accidentally drove through there coming back from San Miguel because that's just the way that maps took us. But when driving through Celaya, which is a dangerous city, like we saw so many National Guard and military and like the cops running or driving around in the back of trucks with machine guns because there's so much insecurity there that they increase the police presence a lot. But there wasn't much of a police presence in Mazatlan, which is generally a good sign that it's a safer place to be. And speaking on the topic of safety, like everyone was going out at night. You can tell like the people there don't feel like they're in danger. Like going out on the Malecon or to the various like street food and bars and stuff at night, tons of people walking around, lots of people out on dates or just hanging out, or families going out even with little kids. So, I mean, it was pretty evident to me, at least, that these people there felt like they were safe enough to have their children go out and things like that.
they want to see Alaska.
Okay, so
Where's
Alaska
Alaska?
came to join us. Oh, excuse the blanket. Alaska, no!
She comes and goes. She doesn't want to be in the camera.
Okay, let's square it up there. Jeff asked, is PV Puerto Vallarta? No squeakers during this live stream. Is Puerto Vallarta hotter in the summer than Mazatlan? Yes, Puerto Vallarta is going to be generally a few degrees hotter and a little bit more humid. So Puerto Vallarta is very hot and humid in the summer, and it's Mazatlan is too. It's just less so than most of these other beach destinations around the country. Bimba, if you want to go play with this, you gotta go get it.
The brown for it. Yeah.
The Art to Will, thanks for the super chat. If you can't own land within 31 miles off the coast based on Article 27, why bother buying property there? Well, there is that, but I mean, Mexican citizens can own it outright in their name, so I could do that. But let's say I wanted to buy a property in Mazatlan. There's 3 ways I could go about it. I could get my Mexican citizenship, but there was a Foreign Investment Act a while back. Bimba, no. Okay, no squeakers during this live stream. A while back, there was a Foreign Investment Act, and they provided a couple more ways that foreigners can buy beachfront property or property within 50 kilometers of the coastline. And that is, number 1, you can buy it through a Mexican corporation. So you start a Mexican corporation, like just have a lawyer do it for you here. And that can be 100% owned by foreigners, and then the corporation can buy the property. And the second way to do it, the most popular way, is to buy it through a land trust. So basically, this is a trust that's valid for, I think it's almost 100 years, but it's renewable indefinitely. And to buy it that way, you do have to pay an annual fee to a bank that holds the trust, but the trust is controlled by you. So there's secure ways for foreigners to buy property here, even if it is in that restricted zone. And outside of that restricted zone, foreigners can buy property directly in their name, no problem. Okay, let me just get caught up on comments here. Let me know if you... Blondie in Mexico says you can buy it with a fideicomiso. Yeah, that's the bank trust I was talking about. Are you looking for a particular comment?
Yeah, I want to show this. So you guys are telling people only what they want to hear. Tell them the reality of what's really going in Mexico right now, the murder, kidnappings, cartels, etc. Tell people the truth. That's the truth. Honestly, there are so many things that I don't like about Mexico, and that's more than a fact. I don't like, and we already talked about this in the other live streams, like I don't like feeling insecure being as a woman or feeling vulnerable being a woman here in Mexico. That's a matter of fact. There's also, as I have said before some minutes ago, that insecurity has raised definitely everywhere, especially in some other states like Michoacan and Guanajuato. Yeah, that's true. It's true that it's like really, really sad that we cannot feel free to travel by night as I used to do or when I was much younger. It's totally true that, yeah, there are a lot of people being kidnapped. I have a family of friends that have been kidnapped and murdered. So I'm not hiding anything. It's not my intention to hide anything, but also I don't think it's fair to lie or to say things that didn't happen. We were perfectly safe at Mazatlan. We were talking to so many people that also told us exactly the same. There were a lot of people there. And I mean, anyway, no matter what can we say, You are always in your right to decide if you believe it or not. But in this case, we are not hiding any information. We are not saying, like, as you say, what people want to hear. It's like, just don't uh, think that it's as really bad as it is. Yes, of course, we are saying there are some part of Sinaloa that are not safe, definitely, but I don't consider that Mazatlan is part of it. So yeah, there are some measures that Mexican, like the National Guard or the policy, like protects some stores or protects people and the civilian, especially when they know that some of the narcos are around there. But that doesn't mean that a lot of people like can get murdered in that place. And yeah, I perfectly understand that a lot of you are even more concerned for about what happened with the United citizen murder, and I'm really sorry for that. But I mean, this is unfortunately, like, people is going crazy and violence is going higher everywhere, basically, not only in Mexico but like literally everywhere. So it is what it is. If you don't want to go to Mazatlan, feel free to just skip or whatever, but we really don't need bad comments, and we really don't need to lie to anyone. So that's all.
Yeah, this comment is implying that we're lying to people, but we make it. It's frustrating because we make it a point on this channel to share both sides of everything, like the good and the not so good. Like a recent video that was on the channel is reasons why you might not want to move to Mexico, and in that video I talked about safety. So I mean, like, we're telling people this, but just because we talk about good things doesn't mean we're ignoring anything that's not good. So,
And
yeah.
anyway, we're not forcing anyone to go and visit. We are just showing why we live there. If you want to go, it's fine. If you don't want to go, it's fine. So it's just up to every one of us, as simple as that.
Henry, good to see you here. Thanks for the 1999 super chat. Really appreciate that. Buenas noches, Mai Jordan. Guys, what are the chances of someday exploring La Isla de las Muñecas, Island of the Dolls in Mexico City? Mai, ¿crees que espantan en esa isla? I've been wanting to ask this for a while.
Hi Henry. I've just watched some videos about that island. It looks so scary, actually.
I'm not familiar with this.
It's like a small island where you go, and basically there are some like dolls hanging everywhere, as like even from trees. But yeah, like very very old dolls, and it looks so scary. I mean, I haven't been there, but honestly, it's not a place that I would like to go. Even though I don't know if they like if there are some kind of energies, ghosts, whatever you want to call it. Uh, it just looks horrible itself, and I will never like to go. I mean, if you would like to go and just hang around, let us know what happened, because that would be really interesting.
Kyle says Island of the Dolls is creepy AF.
Yeah.
Davizi, thanks for the super chat. Hola muchachos. I have a conspiracy theory regarding kidnappings that occurred last week, but I'll save it for another time when we discuss UFOs and the moon landing and the flat earth. Don't forget that one. An idea for a future vlog. Just kidding. Malia says, also, if you pay attention to the news, cartel turn the ones responsible over with an apology letter. Oh, I didn't know that. And by the way, Malia, you had a question that you wanted to answer.
Yeah, Malia.
And I said that I would answer it on a live stream. And that question is, when you move to Mexico from the US, can you keep your phone? Can you keep your phone number? Can you keep using the same phone number? And it's kind of a long answer. That's why I wanted to answer it on a live stream, because it'll take a couple of minutes. So when you come here, well, when I came here, I had T-Mobile, and T-Mobile had coverage in Mexico. So to start, I just used my T-Mobile, and I was using my same phone number, my same phone, my same service, everything. Now, that was like, I was paying like $50 a month. So I would have been better off just switching to a Mexican provider right away and saving 80% and paying $10 a month instead of $50 a month. But eventually, T-Mobile, after a few months, they said, they emailed me and said, you need to start using less data, otherwise you may be kicked off of our network. And then I continued using it. And then one day the Wi-Fi went out at the house and I needed to upload a video. So I tethered to my phone and uploaded a video using the data. And then the next day I got an email saying, your services will be suspended in 30 days. So then I was like, okay, what do I do now? Because I have 30 days left to use T-Mobile. So basically what I did at that point is I got Telcel. I got a Mexican phone number, but I wanted to keep my phone number. So I found out that I could port it to Google Voice for a one-time fee of $20. And then I could use Google Voice for free. And then still sort of have access to that number and still own the number. So that's what I did. I ported my phone number to Google Voice, and I still have it in Google Voice all these years later. And I still have a Mexican number as well. So when it comes to Google Voice, I can still receive phone calls on that number, and I can still make calls from that phone number using Google Voice, and it's been completely free. So that's been nice. Now it's not super convenient because Google Voice doesn't work on my phone. So I have to have like the page open on my computer, which is pretty inconvenient. So there are other solutions to keep your phone number. Like I've heard of people using like a voice over internet protocol and a VoIP service. Is that how they say it? And then porting your number to one of those. And there's some that are like $1 or $2 a month that allows you to like make and receive phone calls from your phone number. So there's various options like that. I don't recommend keeping your US cell phone service because it's just going to be so much more expensive. You may be able to if you don't use so much data like I do, but they say in their contracts that it's not for extended periods of use overseas or out of the country. So hopefully that helps you.
The dogs, like as always, I mean, we don't usually make a live stream, or like sometimes we are not together in a live stream, but every time we are just sitting here doing a live stream, the dogs, Lasky and Bimba, start running all over
and
the house.
Playing with
That's
each
why
other.
I was looking to that side, because they were coming and looking at us and then go away, and we were joking earlier, like they're probably going to do that. Look, turn around.
Oh, here, drink is in the way.
Yeah, both of them are right here.
There they go. Oh.
So yeah, they're always running.
It's really great to see Alaska playing though. She's 13 years old now, and in the past 6 months, I've seen really bad declines in how healthy she's feeling and like how much energy she has and her pain levels. And she's on so many supplements now, which are helping to keep her going. But even with that, I keep having to increase her doses. And yeah, interestingly, so she was having some trouble, and like she was having a lot more joint pain, I could tell. But then I got her CBD oil, and almost as soon as I started giving her CBD oil, it just 1 drop a day to start, I noticed like a night and day turnaround, and she got so much better. Now, as the months have passed, I've actually been increasing her CBD dosage over and over and over. And now instead of 1 drop a day, I'm giving her 6 drops a day. And yeah, because I keep noticing that as I increase the dosage, she's getting better and better, or like not getting worse. But recently I tried going down to 4 drops a day from 6 drops a day, and I noticed her in more pain. So then I bumped it back up to 6 drops. But yeah, if you have dogs in pain, you might want to look into getting CBD oil for dogs, because it's helped her out a lot. Our friend Trisha from my Trish Advisor has given that to her old dogs, and it's helped them out a lot. So it's something that's worth a try. The Art of Will, thanks for the super chat. QB Passport Flexin, who is one of the passport bros, co-signed Mazatlan, and then says they have the best lobster shrimp in the country. I'm confused. Okay, let me read that again. QB Passport Flexin, who is one of the... Okay, so
That's the name of someone.
This is the name of a guy.
Who's the passport bros co-signed Mazatlan.
Co-signs Mazatlan and says they have the best lobster shrimp in the country. Well, the seafood there is amazing. Love the seafood there.
May, thank you for commenting on the violence in Mexico. Have you and Jordan give any new thoughts about your personal safety where you both live? I mean, it's not that we're taking unnecessary risks. Like, I mean, Querétaro has become like not as safe as it used to be, and of course there are like murders and kidnapping and everything happen. And again, I'll say it again, I have very closest friends and family who had been through that. So it's definitely that if you put it like in a very realistic way, we are not safe anywhere. And I don't want to feel that I'm living that kind of life, because I've done that before and it's really stressful. So we just try to live a normal life, and it's not that we are like taking that risk. Like, for example, going out at night, late at night, or I don't know, if we go out to a restaurant, we never go with somebody we don't know, because that's really, really dangerous. You'd never know the intentions of people. If we
What do you mean by that? Like going with someone you don't know?
Yeah, for example, it's really common that people, for example, in a beach, or ladies in the beach, or whomever, you go to a nightclub, you start drinking a lot, and sometimes people come up to you and invite you some alcohol, which it can have drugs, for example.
Oh, okay.
And then they're like, oh yeah, let's come to my house and let's follow the party there. That's a huge no. So it's like, I mean, don't do those kind of things, but it's also a matter of common sense. Like we have said 1,000 times, it's not safe to go through Mexico roads past like
after dark.
It's really, really dangerous.
Generally take the toll roads, will be
everywhere.
safer.
So if you take taxi or Uber or whatever and you are alone, always share your location with anybody else. So that's the kind of things that we are doing, because also living here in Querétaro and anywhere. So when we travel anywhere, basically something that we have done over and over again, it's not being late at night out. So of course we would like to go to a nightclub, of course we would like to go drinking, but we don't do it because we perfectly know that it might not be safe. And both of us
we've done it before.
Yes, but what I'm saying is like, and I'm being very punctual, is like, yeah, you can go and have fun, but it's like 3 a.m. and you are alone or you're super drunk. Of course you're gonna put yourself in danger, and that's not a point that we've never done before. So here in Querétaro, you can go out, and for example, that time we hire a friend to take us to that place and take us back home, because there are safer ways to do the things. But we thought that getting Uber or whatever was not safe, so we thought we were like up not to do that. But it's are other kind of things that I'm talking about, and it's the same here and it's the same everywhere. And of course, I don't think it's correct that I don't know, like people, like bad people, for example, narcos or whatever, someone who just want to like rob you or whatever, and killing people. Of course, that's not okay, but it's happening everywhere. So let's just like take care. And another, for example, thing that you shouldn't do, it's like be listening to music or with your headphones when you're walking on the street, because you will never notice if something is following you or if someone is talking to you. So just avoid those kind of things. But again, that's everywhere.
And there's of course, Maya's named a couple of them, but there's various things you can do to be safer here. One, I didn't think of this for a while until like Maya actually like brought up to me that having a car is going to make you safer, because it will keep you out of any sketchy situations that might happen with taxis or Uber. Like it allows you to securely get from your home to wherever you're going and back. Like in a previous live stream, I told a story of how she had an attempted kidnapping taking an Uber one time. So having a car will help you be safer. You can get a place that's in a nicer neighborhood. That's a reason why a lot of people choose to live in a nicer neighborhood here. Oftentimes a gated neighborhood, because that's going to increase your safety level quite a bit. And living in a safer city like this is considered one of the safer cities in Mexico. That's going to help as well. But there's various things you can do to
Yeah, and again,
live a life securely.
is there kidnapping, murder, robberies, whatever here in Querétaro? Yes, of course. It has happening to us, but thankfully not, and I'm really like thankful for that. But again, I'm not taking like unnecessary risk, and that's all. Of course, there are some neighborhoods that are more dangerous. Of course, there are some states that are some more dangerous. But we are not living in a neighborhood that we think it's dangerous. Of course, I will never expose myself to do that. My workplace, it's in a safer place too, and we perfectly know that a lot of people can afford to have a car. Of course, if you do buy it or get it, but if you don't, well, another thing we do is like never take an Uber, and it's something like really personal, that it has a like a rate less than 4.8 or 4.9, because definitely like the driver might be rude or something like that. So always go to up to higher ratings when you're taking some kind of Uber. And again, always share your location, and if you think that you are not safe, always ask for help or run or call somebody. But it's just don't stay quiet and avoid like going anywhere, or as much as possible, of course, at night when everybody's sleeping, because it's dangerous everywhere.
Don't easy. Thanks for the super chat. He says Peter Zihan explains the situation in Mexico. Look him up. I watched some videos from him, and what he had to say was really interesting. Like I watched one where he was explaining what has happened since AMLO, the the current president of Mexico, came in, and then instead of trying to fight the cartels, had this hugs not bullets campaign where like they would like leave the government would leave the cartels alone. And then he talks about how the Jalisco New Generation cartel gained more power, and then the one who ran the cartel like a business ended up getting out of power or losing a lot of territory, and it created more instability. It was very interesting, and he seemed quite knowledgeable. And good to see you here. And thanks for being a channel member. Really appreciate that. By the way, if you guys don't know, this little symbol right here next to her name, that means she's a channel member. Said, I did the same thing when porting my US number to Google Voice back in 2019, but now you have to be in the US to port it. Not sure if a VPN will help. Oh, okay. Yeah. And like I have a VPN, and there's a lot of situations that come up where it actually is really helpful to have that. And I bet that is one situation where it would help.
Yeah.
By the way, if you guys are interested in Mexico videos, you can go check out her channel. Lately, she's done some videos on like current events and whatnot, which are pretty interesting. So go check that out. Okay, I'm going to try to get caught up here. Maggie, thanks for the $10 super chat and also for being a channel member. We were all set to retire in Mexico, and we're so sad to discover recently that you cannot get insurance if you are 70 or over. Is there actually any way to get insurance, or is this a sad fact? I don't think you're going to be able to get private insurance.
But
However,
can
you could
always
still
have
get EAMS, like IMSS. If you're a legal resident in Mexico, you can get insurance through this program, EAMS, IMSS, and that it doesn't matter what your age is. Now, the coverage might not be as good as private insurance, and maybe the hospitals where you're covered at aren't going to be as good. However, it's still insurance, and you still get care for those emergency situations that come up.
Yeah, and also, I mean, if you don't have any kind of insurance, and for example, you go to IMSS, probably you'll have to pay an amount of money depending on your. They're gonna make an economic study, like socioeconomical study or something, like how much money you have, how much money you earn, and depending on that, you'll have to pay a certain amount of money depending on the procedure you need. But also, there's hospitals that Secretaría de Salud, like the institution, the main institution that here in Mexico, had some hospitals where you can go if you don't have IMSS, and they are going to attend you. And again, it's the same. They are going to make that socioeconomical study, and they are going to determine that the amount of money you have to pay for attention. But again, yeah, definitely. I'm not sure if you can get an insurance, but there are some other options that you can't afford to live in here and get healthcare attention, definitely.
What do you think about police corruption here, like bribes and whatnot?
I mean, do I think that police is corrupt here in Mexico? I do.
All over,
I,
everywhere, or?
it's just something. I mean, we cannot generalize and say everywhere. Of course, there are cops that are going to be up to do that, and some others that won't. It's definitely. I mean, my answer for that question is yes, of course, not as a general fact, but it definitely happens.
Okay. Is Merida no longer awesome? It's a pretty cool city. I like Merida. I wouldn't want to live there in the summer.
I mean, Merida is pretty nice. A lot of people have told me that it had become much more expensive, but everywhere is getting expensive now.
He said, thanks for the super chat. He says, yes, hopefully one day I'll have a survey so with you. One day. Yeah, that'd be cool. Luis says, yeah, I like hearing from Peter Zehan. Very interesting takes. Do you miss Minnesota? Lots of snow here. I miss spending the summers in Minnesota, but I don't miss those super cold and windy and snowy winters. Don asked, what brand of CBD oil should we give to dogs? I have a little 12-year-old Chi with very bad arthritis, and now with the weather cooler, she is having such a hard time. So you want to find one that has no THC, but the one that I'm giving to Laska was actually formulated by someone who makes CBD specifically for dogs. So maybe if you can find something like that, that would help you out. Louise, thanks for the super chat. Do you think the USD to peso will stick at 17 to 1, or will it eventually go back up? What's your feeling? So it's so hard to predict this. And even someone like me who studies this kind of thing a lot, you can't trust my opinion because I mean, like if currency traders who can get it right, like get the direction right, 55% of the time, you will be a billionaire. Like if you can manage your bankroll and to never bet too much on one trade, and you can be right 55% of the time, you will factually be a billionaire with some time. So like the best traders in the world only get it right about that percentage of the time. So don't listen to me. But with that said, what do I think? Well, for a while, the dollar has been viewed as a safe haven. No matter what's happening in the world, if stuff is going down, if crap is happening, people go into the dollar. Sorry, there's like Bimba for going all over and it's making my nose itch. So like, for example, we just saw a bank fail in the US, a big bank fail, and the dollar went up because there was that fear. And then anything dealing with the fear trade, money goes into the dollar and that pushes the dollar up. So if some big event happens, well, then I think the dollar will go up relative to other currencies. But I'm not confident in the Federal Reserve's ability to fight inflation. And I think eventually they're going to reverse course and start easing and start lowering interest rates, maybe even another round of quantitative easing. And at that point, I think the dollar is going to go down. So even myself, I see arguments going both ways. And both of those things can happen. Damn, brother, you look healthier. Your face is thinner. That's interesting because like Mai showed me a photo from like a couple weeks ago versus a photo of me from a few months ago. And we've been working out and my face looked a lot thinner in the newer photo. I haven't lost any weight. I've lost some fat, but I actually weigh more now than when I started working out. So yeah, it's interesting. Where does Laska want to buy a home? We'll have to have this conversation with her. But also, speaking of Laska, would you like to show them this husky that's up for adoption?
You have it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, so a friend of a friend has a husky that's up for adoption. And we're considering meeting the husky. But it's really cute. I'll show you. Where's the camera? Here's the camera.
Bimbo, stop.
So this is the puppy. But like when we're walking Alaska and we run into a husky, the huskies always want to play with each other. She always wants to play with other huskies. So I think it would make her happy to have a husky. And then Bimba, she would like an active dog to play with because Alaska just sleeps almost all day.
And I, in our last Facebook post about Bimba, a lot of people have been asking a lot about Laskia, and I think that I would really appreciate like your concerns about her. But I mean, I think a lot of people have these thoughts that just because we got Bimba, we left Alaska apart, and that's completely like that's
False.
not true.
No, we
So Laskia and Bimba are in different stages of their lives, and as he said, Laska is up to 13 years old, and the vet explained is that at this age, like that process of becoming older, it goes faster. And of course we love Leske a lot, but he also explained us that at that age and old people who had an elderly dog won't like tell, like don't allow us to say false things, but they we perfectly know that dogs tend to be more lonely than they used to be when they are younger. So yeah, this it's of course true that being bites all over us all the time, but Laska prefers to stay alone all the time. He
Yeah.
has a huge bed we have shared by Facebook in the kitchen because that's the place she chose
Yeah,
as
that's
her.
where she likes to be.
She
Likes
likes
to be
to
in the
be
kitchen.
there, and of course we are not forcing her to do things that she's not up to, because respecting her space and her desire of being alone, that's also another way of showing love. So if we don't put it a lot in camera, it's because she doesn't like to. We try to include it as much as we can, like with photos and like the way we did before. But I mean, just stop making those painful comments about her, like we
We've
might be
got
leaving it behind, because we've been receiving a lot of hate and things like that recently, and I don't think that's correct. We don't need that in our lives. I mean,
a lot of comments saying like, "Oh, you're neglecting her," and things
yeah,
like that.
and it's
That
like,
couldn't be further from the truth.
yeah, and it's like, just come on. I mean, if you have a dog and you really love your dog and it's getting really, really old, and especially with Laska that had a surgery and had a back problem, would you be forcing your dog to do something else just to please the other people, or just to other people that don't think that you are like not doing what they think they are? So just like, just be more human and just be more respectful. I mean, I've seen him like struggling with the idea of Laska becoming older, and that's a process that he has been dealing with. And you saying all that stuff, it's really, really painful. So just don't do it.
Now, I
Just,
know it's probably only a few of you, like
yeah, no,
most,
not all of you, but I mean,
not even a majority, like
not a majority,
just a
but
tiny
it's like,
percentage.
just don't do it. Just we ask you to be respectful about the situation of Laska. She's old. That's all. We like her to rest, and that's all. And just stop doing those kind of hurtful comments, please.
Noah asked, "What's the likelihood of auto accidents in the USA versus Mexico, in your opinion?" So, I think the overall likelihood of a car crash is pretty similar. So there's things that, in terms of like things to decrease the number of accidents, there's things that the US does better and there's things that Mexico does better. So like in the US, things are a lot more organized. So that tends to be better for that. However, in the US, a lot more people are distracted by their phone or something like that. Whereas here in Mexico, almost like very few people are distracted by their phone, at least relative to that kind of distraction level in the US. However, here, a lot more drivers do really stupid moves. So, like, I cannot believe how many stupid things I see people do when I'm on the road every day. However, because people are expecting other people to do stupid stuff, they're always paying attention, which helps avoid accidents, right? So there's that's kind of my take on it. Cynthia asks, what are sales taxes like in your city? Are other Mexican cities the same? So it's not like the US where it varies from city and state and municipality. Uh, in Mexico, it's a 16% sales tax countrywide. No matter where you're at, it's 16%. And the tax is always included in the listed price. Evie, thank you for the $10 super chat. Really appreciate that. Hi from Western Canada. Maya's looking beautiful as ever, and you are looking good, Jordan. Your videos are interesting and helpful. I'm happy that you guys are doing well. Stay safe. Oh, thanks so much. Really appreciate that. Mike says, I live in Mazatlan, 3 blocks from where you stayed. I'm much safer here than in the States. I get the strange feeling when I visit back home. And it's interesting that the U.S. government is always putting out these travel warnings and like level 4 travel warning: do not travel to this country or this state within this country. Like for example, in Sinaloa, I believe is at level 4 right now, the highest alert level. But if they were being like, if they wanted to be fair, they would put out a level 4 do not travel warning to Chicago as well. And Chicago would always have a level 4 rating, do not travel, but you don't see that.
And also something that really surprised me, like when we went to Mazatlan, is that there were a lot of people from Canada spending a lot of time there, like also getting some houses. And you could see all those people like having walks with their dogs at night, hanging around at the restaurants. So we were basically like around 10 p.m. at night, and we were surrounded by people. I don't know if they were Canadians or people from the US. I mean, it's the same, but they were having such a good time there. And many of them already have businesses there. So it's like, it just kept me thinking this. If it was really, really a very dangerous state, uh, people from those countries will never be able to live there and make their lives there. So there were many people that were taking Mazatlan as their retirement place, and that was like, well, Mexicans are not considering that. At least me as Mexican, I've never considered that. But when I saw that people, that of course all of us are looking for safety, but seeing them like so confident being there and doing their lives made me think like, you know what, maybe it's not as people was used to think. And we are not trying to change your mind about what is Mazatlan or not. We're just giving again our point of view. And again, there's no other way to discover to know about yourself like just being there. But again, just give a chance, and that's all. I mean, that's the only thing we would like to share with this kind of videos.
And one more thing, I was picking on Chicago, but like I was just kind of trying to make the point that there's a lot of cities in the U.S. that are pretty dangerous places, and like if they were basing their travel warnings on crime stats, well then a lot of U.S. cities would have these do not travel warnings as well. But I've never seen that. Joe, thanks so much for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Here's a question. What's your opinion on moving to Mexico from the U.S. with kids? Bimba, stop chewing on this blanket.
She likes to chew everything, and she's destroying a blanket.
Bimba, no. I'll answer the question in a moment. Okay. We need to give her a bone because she's wanting to chew everything right now. Okay, moving to Mexico from the U.S. with kids. Well, I don't have any kids, so I don't have that perspective. However, personally, I would like to raise kids here. You could send them to a really great private school for a fraction of the price of what it would cost in the U.S. You can raise them and have them grow up completely bilingual, and I think that's really great as well. And I don't know, I like a lot of the values that are here in Mexico that are kind of lacking in a lot of places around the U.S. these days. So I don't know. I think, but I mean, it depends on their age too, because if they're like already old enough where they have a bunch of friends and they have a life uh, where they're currently living, well, then it might be pretty hard on them. But yeah, I don't know if that helps you out at all, but hopefully it does. Let me know if you see any that you want me to click on mine. I'm trying to get caught up. Very Jerry, thanks for the 1999 super chat. Really enjoy your videos. Thank you both for your great content. Thanks for watching. We really appreciate it.
And also, I would like to be clear that buying a house in Mazatlan right now, it's something that we thought being there as an investment option. We don't have money to buy a house there.
Yeah, that's all hypothetical. Like if we could.
Even, yeah, that's not even close to be true. I mean, we don't have money. We just like it. That's all. And we're not moving anywhere. And what else? I mean, that's just our personal thought. That's our personal point of view. I mean, the best way to find a new place to live is like you go for what you want and for what you like. And I'm pretty sure that what we like and what we want is totally different from what you might want and like. So it's just something we're talking about. But again, we're not moving. And hi, Glasgow. And what else? I forgot. I got distracted. But yeah, that's all. We're not living anywhere.
So you might have just heard my call Alaska glass cup. Well, so in one video, I said Alaska's name. I said Alaska, and then YouTube always puts auto subtitles on the video, like automatic subtitles using their AI, and they translated Alaska to glass cup. And I told Maya this, and ever since she's been calling her glass cup. Haiti, thanks for the $3.99 super sticker. Appreciate that. Noah asks if we go live regularly. We do it on Sunday evenings a lot. Like the past couple of months, we didn't go live much, but yeah, lately we've been trying to. Mira, Bimba lost her. Just notice that Bimba's tag is missing.
Is there a public school system in Mexico? Yes, we have a public school system at every levels. So basically it works like they give you an appointment where you can like register your kids, and they give you some options of school depending on the area you live. So you take your kids there, and basically you don't pay a single peso for for education. So those options, I have friends that are already mothers, and they've told me that of course it's a very good option, like to to get your kids educated, especially if they are like kindergarten, like just elementary school and things like that. And they also say like, okay, you better save so you can like pay for a private school when they are like older. I don't know, like high school or junior high or something like that. But yeah, we have that system. I actually was 1 year of my life in that public system, and actually I don't have any regret about doing it. Of course, I'm not pretty sure, but I don't think there's a bilingual form with the public system. But I mean, you can pay for English classes out of school, so I don't consider either that might be a problem. So yeah, that we do have that option.
Malia asked, does Mexico recognize service dogs? Yes, they do.
Here's a mosquito.
And this person says, service dogs to a limited extent. Treatment varies from place to place. Yeah, I suppose. I'm I mean, I think in the bigger cities, service dogs are recognized throughout. But if you get into like smaller towns, they probably won't even know what a service dog is. What do you think?
The same. I mean, I
Okay.
don't have much more experience.
Yeah, neither. Like this is speaking just based on like signs I've seen and whatnot. Kyle asked, "Did you ever figure out why the water receded so far in Mazatlan?" So, if you don't know what he's talking about, basically, while we were there in Mazatlan, one day the water receded far out, or pretty far out into the ocean. And I learned when I was younger that if the water ever does that, you got to get away because that can mean a tsunami's coming. Because before a tsunami comes, I've I learned that the water will recede like that. But no tsunami ever came.
So we were reading, we were looking for information, and they say that actually there was a very, very small earthquake. We couldn't feel it. So, yeah, I mean, um, I think that was the reason, but actually nothing happened. So we saw that people actually were like pretty normal, and we were like, you know what? If this was really serious, the government or whatever, the people of the hotel have told us something. And yeah, actually, you went to the reception desk that day when we arrived, and nobody told us anything. So that's why, I think that's why, because of the small earthquake of that morning, but that's all. Like later in the afternoon, the beach was perfectly normal.
What's your favorite part of Mazatlan? Deborah asks. What's your favorite part, Mai?
Mm, food. Was really good.
Food was amazing. I liked so much about it. I love the food. The people were amazing. It was really pretty. I don't know. I'm having trouble choosing. Two travelers to Mexico. Good to see you guys here. Mike Anderson says during the winter we get minus tides in the afternoons. Nothing to be concerned about. And do you live in Mazatlan? Minus tides. I wasn't familiar with that phrase or that concept.
Mm.
I mean, I'm familiar with high tide and low tide. What we witnessed in Mazatlan was much lower than low tide. Like it wasn't even close. Are you tired now?
She's so tired.
Do you have handicapped schools or facilities with ramps and handrails? Generally, the newer the area, the more you're going to see handicap accessible stuff. So, like here in Querétaro, when they're building a new neighborhood, yeah, they're making it pretty much everything handicap accessible. But there's a lot of older neighborhoods that aren't. Do you have anything to say on this?
Mm.
I don't know anything about handicapped schools.
Yeah, of course, they are a special school. I was there for a while I was like doing my practice in physical therapy. So in those school, there are like teachers specialized on people with some kind of disability or something like that. And I think those kind of schools are really cool because they also offer some other kind of therapy, like psychological therapy for parents or physical therapy for people. And I think the price is really affordable. And also about the facilities with ramps and handrails. For example, in Centro, they have like a lot of special spaces, so you'll be able to park your car near to the main plazas. And the only way that you can park there without having to pay the multa,
The fine.
the fine, it's like having a disabled plate. So if you go with the government, like where you get the plates and you demonstrate that you have some kind of disability, whatever it is, you
Uh-huh.
can park literally everywhere, like every mall, centro, many of the new neighborhood, as he said, had those special parking
Parking spot.
places,
Yeah.
like parking spots. And also in the neighborhoods, like there are very parking places where you can stay without walking a lot of the main places that people likes to visit. So I think that yeah, it could be better, definitely, but we do have all those options here.
Um, Jordan, thanks for the $5 super chat. An Academy Award for Best Las Vegas YouTube Video Guides goes to Tangerine Travels. Well, thank you. I work hard to make those Vegas videos ones that are really going to help out a lot of people. So I I appreciate that they've helped you out. Jim asked, was the ocean water warm when you were there? I never felt the ocean water. Oh, there's so much fur on my face. Bimba, you're shedding. Bimba took a bath today, so she's shedding a lot, and it's making her fur fly up in my nose and bother me. Yeah, I never felt the ocean water. I never wanted to because it was kind of cold while we were there.
It was really cool, actually.
Like at night, I actually had to go to the mall to buy a sweatshirt because it was too cold without it, especially at night. Uh, Two Travelers in Mexico says newer areas and central historical areas tend to be handicap accessible. Older areas might have ramps, but then once on the sidewalk, you have trees that push them up into the cement. And in addition to that, I've seen ones where they have ramps, but nobody in a wheelchair could ever get up them or down them by themselves because they're like so steep or something. Like I see that I see that a lot. Uh, but yeah, yeah, newer areas around Centro are usually pretty good. I agree. When is the next Vegas trip? I think I have one scheduled for about a month from now, but I think that we're gonna have to reschedule that. So Mike said he does live in Mazatlan, and he says look at a tide chart and you will see minus tides. They are simply the lowest tides of the month. I live here in Mazatlan and I walk the beaches daily. Sometimes you'll see rocks that are usually underwater. Very cool.
Oh, by the way, Mike, I mean, I'm so curious about it. How do you feel about safety there in Mazatlan? We would love to know that because yeah, a lot of people, as you can see, is concerned about safety. But why you chose Mazatlan to live there, and how do you feel about it?
You bought a home in Mazatlan? No, no. So if you watch the beginning of this stream, we're talking about reasons why we would, but this is like just kind of theoretical because we don't have the money to buy a home right now. But if we did have the money, then yes, it's
It will be
something
an option. It
we
will
would
definitely
seriously
be an
consider it.
option. Yeah.
Uh, Can you recommend a realtor for what city? Because it would depend on where you're talking about. If you're talking about Mazatlan, no, I don't know any realtors there. But if you're talking about another city, maybe. Brian asked, where's she from? If you're talking about Mai, she's from here in Querétaro. Domizi, thanks for the super chat. What's your opinion about passport bros movement? Do you think it will grow? Even myself had to find a wife overseas. Options were one country that I'm not totally sure what it is, or Mexico. Do you know what flag this is?
Honestly, no. Sorry.
Women there take pride in feminine and traditional values. Yeah, I mean, I think it depends. So I actually recently found out about passport bros. I wasn't familiar with this phrase until this channel like Manosphere Daily Highlights actually featured Tangerine Travels on there, and that's when I learned about that. But basically, what it is people usually leaving the U.S. To go to another country to find a wife. A lot of times, the reason is that they just have a hard time finding someone who has the same values that they do where they come from. And yeah, for me, like, although I wasn't familiar with the movement or anything like that, I do tend to agree that like I have a hard time finding someone who shares my values in the U.S. Kind of simple as that. So, do I think it will grow? Yeah, it seems like it's picking up a lot, gaining a lot of steam. So I think it will grow. Ma, here's a question for you.
I honestly don't have an opinion about Tijuana because I've never been there. So, of course, I would like to visit all the states in Mexico and and be able to have my own opinion. And again, my own opinion it isn't a lot, but yeah, in this case, I don't know anything about Tijuana.
So when I say the name of this city, Tijuana, apparently that like I don't hear myself saying the A, like, but people say I put an A after the I and it sounds like Tijuana. But when I say it, like I'm literally just saying Tijuana.
Tijuana.
Tijuana. But I don't know. There's a phantom A that keeps appearing when I say that, the name of that city. JV Outdoors, thanks for the super chat. Hello from Florida. Wishing you all the best. God bless and be safe. Thank you. You as well. Bimba, you cannot be around me anymore. Not tonight.
Yeah, she's
shedding a lot. You're shedding way more than Alaska ever has right now. She just laid down on the floor. You got to go. It's not as bad as you think. So there's this water park there, and they have this water slide that is, I think the nickname is Slip and Die. But you go down it, and it's like it's shaped like this. So when you get to the end, you go flying. And if you go down it head first, you'll actually go feet first into the water because the angle of your body changes. Like you go down like this, and then if you're head first, you go up like this, and then you land feet first like that. It's something I want to try. It looks like a lot of fun, despite the nickname Slip and Die. Peter says, Sunday evening, chilling with Jordan and Maya and working on my language flashcards. Question for Jordan: how long was it before you got comfortable with 7+ Spanish class verb tenses? Like 7 different verb tenses? Is that the question? I mean, verb, all these different verb tenses are still hard for me. There's even verb tenses that don't exist in English. So, I mean, I'm pretty good with present. I'm pretty good with imperfect. I'm getting better with future tense. Uh, pretty good with preterite tense, but then there's so many other tenses, and I just don't even know.
Even for us, it's hard, honestly.
Have you met Mai's parents, and what do they think of you guys? Yep. Yeah, many times. We went out for dinner last night.
Yeah.
One of many times we've done that. And what do they think of us? I don't know.
I mean, they are very respectful about my relationship, especially because they had seen several times how much he like takes care of me and respects me and support me. And something that my family had told me a lot of time, it's that even though his culture might be completely different from us, he's always trying to get into our like traditions and what we like to do, and that's something really nice. So he's never staying apart from us, so that's really really cool. So yeah, actually they are like pretty comfortable with him that we've been spending all this time together because we're living like together now, and my family have seen a lot of good changes on me, and he's always supporting me and respecting my decisions. So that's always something that like my parents tell me. It's like, for example, this partner that I was dealing with anxiety for the last 12 years or something like that, and he was always like encouraging me to look for other solutions so I will be able to get out of it. And I really appreciate, because I was scared, but he was never like a get out of my decisions. I mean, he's always respecting everything I want. So I really, really appreciate. And again, I'm always in contact with my family, with, especially with my mother. We talk almost every day, and they are happy. They see how much we've been growing as a couple, and he's part of my family already. What else I can say? We're perfectly comfortable with him.
Loose Change Slots says, can I ask again, do longtime subs have to resub for a live chat? So to leave a comment on YouTube here during this chat, you have to have been subscribed for at least 5 minutes. And the reason for that is because in the past, we've had a lot of spammers just ruining the whole chat. So that's why I have it set up like that. This one?
So Mike said, I bought my home in Mazatlan 2 years ago. 5 minute walk to the beach. I feel safe all the time. My wife is from here, so we go all over to areas few gringos go to. When we go out, I'm usually to the only gringo. I love it there here. I walk around at night, no problems. It was spooky when Chapo's son got caught, and we were all waiting to see what would happen. Apparently, the connected people have so many investment here that they don't want trouble that could affect tourists. Nothing happened. No. So yeah, that's what I've been saying. Luckily or not, I don't know. But when there's a lot of economical interest intersect, like nothing's going to happen. So that area is going to be like protected. And of course they have to close in that at that time they had to close the airport, and they had to close stores, because of course people want to protect themselves, and police and the National Guard was trying to protect people as well. But as Mike said, we never felt in danger when we were in Mazatlan. I mean, we were for just a week, but he has been living there for the last 2 years, and yeah, we definitely agree with him. Thanks so much for your comment, by the way.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, connected people having a lot of investments, and I mentioned earlier in the stream that when we were there, I could see that a lot of money was going into the city. And yes, it's very possible that some of that money is narco money. But when these powerful people have investments there, they use their influence and power to make sure it's safe as well. So like a lot of times when you're living somewhere and for example, like there's some big narco boss or somebody who lives there as well, that's generally one of the safest places you can live.
And most of the time, again, I'm not generalizing, but people protect these people because they help them a lot with new jobs and repairing the streets and building more houses, etc. So again, I'm not saying that it's okay or that it's correct. It's just I'm not gonna talk about if I agree or not with narco. It's just something that I'm not going to get into, but I mean, it has a really bad side. It also has a good side for many people. So again, there's a very high economical interstate in Mazatlan, and that's why the whole area might be protected. Again, we're talking specifically about Mazatlan. We are not talking about Sinaloa in general, or we are not talking about Sinaloa roads. We're just talking about Mazatlan. A part of that, I cannot even say how safe it is, honestly.
Mexican Spec asked, are you moving to Mazatlan or just buying a second house there? No, sorry, I didn't mean to confuse you. Like we talked about this in the beginning of the stream. If you go back and watch it, you'll see. But we don't have any money to buy a home right now. But it's like saying if we had the money, like if we had the funds to do that, we would seriously consider buying in Mazatlan right now.
It's really nice. And we're all like just sharing our experience.
Domizi says, even here where I live in the LA area, it's not safe being out at night. I used to do my shopping at night, but on the news they've been featuring mugs and shootouts every other day. Jeez. Yeah, and I've been living here in Mexico for over 5 years now, and I've never had an attempted robbery here. However, someone tried to rob me in Phoenix, Arizona. Actually, two guys tried to rob me about 6 months before coming to Mexico. So that's the only time I've experienced a robbery in my life, or an attempted robbery. How much longer would you like to stay on tonight?
I don't know. Maybe go soon. I also have 4 in my eye.
Yeah,
it's getting red actually.
Oh, you can go take care of it if you want. You can. If you buy a house in Mazatlan, does it have to be walking distance to the beach?
It depends.
I mean, it depends on your preference. Like,
there were some departments, like new departments, that were really close to the beach, but there were also a lot of houses that weren't. So I think also depends, like the price of the property might be much higher if you're in front of the beach and not if you're like if you have to drive 20 minutes or something like that. So it depends.
yeah. Mexican Spec says, I feel completely safe in Los Mochis, which if you don't know, that's in Sinaloa. And it is generally considered one of the more dangerous places. Like when I hear about the dangerous cities in Sinaloa, a lot of times I hear about Culiacan and then secondly, Los Mochis. Uh, but he said, I go out at midnight to pay some bills with no problem at all. Yes, it was wild for 2 days during that time, but it quickly calmed down. Yeah. And I stayed just one night in Los Mochis, so I don't know the city well, but I have been there, and I really like that city. What little I saw of it.
Another place that I would like to live, where I would consider on living if it wasn't for the weather, it's Monterrey. I love Monterrey. But the weather it's
Too
so
hot.
freaking crazy. I mean, when it's cold, it's too cold. When it's warm, it's too warm. It's insane. So I'm in love with Monterrey, even though their roads and everything, it's crazy. I mean, I've been there like 3 times or something like that. No, maybe four. But anyway, I have friends living in Monterrey, and they say like, it's really hard to get used to. It's so easily to get lost in Monterrey because they have a lot of turns and roads and everything. So it's like GPS, it's necessary, and also there's no way to survive. There's no walking distances in Monterrey. You definitely need something to move. I mean, a bike or a car or whatever, because the city it's huge. But I definitely been in those months which is not super warm, and I love it. I've been telling him that we should go to Monterrey.
Is spring and fall a good time to go? You
I
said like
don't
when
think
it's
so.
cold,
Maybe
too
in
cold.
autumn, like maybe autumn, because yeah, otherwise you can get fried if you're walking in the street. Like the sun is super super intense. But yeah, I definitely love Monterrey. Those are like the city where I possibly live in if I would like to move from Querétaro. It's not in my mind, but yeah. And yeah, Monterrey doesn't have water, but it's a nice city.
Yeah, there's that little tiny problem with no water. I really, what's that place just outside of Monterrey that's really fancy? I want to go there.
I always forgot about it.
I want to make a video there.
Yeah, the
Someone's going to put it on the chat.
yeah, please remind
Fancy
us.
place
It's like,
right outside of Monterrey.
Let me look at it.
Someone's going to put it here just a moment.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
I just don't remember.
No, not Nuevo León, it's a city.
No, es Garcia.
Garza, yes, it's Garza something.
Damn.
San Pedro Garza.
San Pedro Garza.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
San
you,
Pedro.
thank you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, of course, I don't have the possibility to live in San Pedro, but I was telling Jordan, it's like it's so cool, it's so amazing. You just cross through a mountain or a
Yeah.
bridge, and it's there at Monterrey, but everything's so damn fancy and luxurious. And there's a hotel there that is like, oh my gosh, just looking at it, it's so pretty. So I told him that I don't know, we should just go and take a look at San Pedro. Of course, everything is so darn expensive, but just going there and visiting, it's really
Like
nice.
when you went there, you sent me a picture of your Starbucks, and it was from this restaurant or this place called Starbucks Reserve, was it?
Yeah,
Like
it was.
I've never seen one of those in my life, but this place is so fancy that it has a fancier version of Starbucks.
Yeah, and actually a coffee. I was like, I'm just gonna get in and sneak a little bit, and actually the prices in the Starbucks Reserve wasn't much higher than the normal Starbucks.
Maybe 20 or
So
30 pesos.
maybe a 20 or 30
dollar,
pesos.
$1.50 more.
Yeah, more than if you go to normal Starbucks. The other things are, of course, super expensive, but Starbucks Reserve wasn't. So it's so pretty. I
Gilberto
just told
says-
him, like, you know what? Yeah, exactly. That's true. We can
What?
show it. But Gilberto says, yeah, that's the richest city of Mexico. That's the richest part of Mexico. And yeah, I mean, it's like you cross the bridge and you go to Dubai or something like that. It's insane. So look for San Pedro Garza on Google, and we hope we can make a video pretty soon about that place, but I really love it. And they have restaurants that, oh my gosh, were amazing. So
Maggie, thanks for the super chat. Last night, coming home on the train from a concert, two women asked to walk with us. They were being followed and bothered. It happens everywhere. Oof. And where
I'm
is
so
that?
sorry. I mean, well, yeah, happens everywhere.
Thought Mai had a bruise on her right arm below her wrist. I just realized it was a tattoo.
No, I'm not injured.
You do bruise easily, though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I exercise, I bruise. I touch myself, I bruise. So capillary fragility is part of me. So yeah, I bruise easily.
Do you want to show your tattoo or no?
I mean, yeah, I got a tattoo.
Yes.
Everybody has been talking about it. I love it. It's the only one. So since I was a kid, I had the idea of having a tattoo with a certain meaning, which is the one that I already have right now. Moscow. And I'm so strong about my feelings and my decisions. And in this case, I knew that when I arrived to a certain point of my life,
Why are you red?
I would get this tattoo, and that moment arrived. So basically, I know that it's the only tattoo I'm gonna get in my whole life again, because it really has a very powerful and strong meaning for me. And that's all. I made the decision. So as I told you before, I was struggling. Yeah, well, she was out in the rain. So I was struggling with anxiety and depression for almost 12 years. And right now I'm almost done with that, which I'm really happy. Because of that, of course, it was impossible for me to think about becoming an independent adult because I really need help for a lot of things. But right now I'm in a very, very good point or strong point of my life. And something I really like about this tattoo is that the only way I can look at it is when I'm just like in front of the mirror, and I love it. So uh, that's why I decided. And also, it's another proof for myself, because I used to be really hard and judgmental with myself, and getting a tattoo had made me understand that doesn't make you a worse person or a bad person or a better person if you're not. It just doesn't make a difference, and also depends. I mean, we're all free to do whatever like you want to do with your body or whatever. But again, there are so many things that I'm not planning to do, that like getting another tattoo. I've heard some comments of saying that, yeah, she's showing her true colors by having another, like having a tattoo. And I honestly think, like, you know what? That
Having a little flower.
that having a little flower, I mean, that doesn't make you better or worse, or that doesn't make me like a bad person. So it's just me, but reminding me that how stronger I become, even though I thought I wouldn't make it. So that's all. And my parents, especially my mom, were like, well, you are so brave, because I thought it was going to be really painful. Actually, it wasn't. But yeah, that's all.
We got a new channel member. Thanks so much, Mickey. Really appreciate you joining as a channel member. Now Jordan needs to get a tattoo. I don't want any tattoos. I don't have any, and I don't think I'll ever get one.
Yeah, and also it took me a lot of time to find the person who I wanted to make this tattoo, because the lines are really, really thin. It took like 2 hours or more to like make this. It has a lot of small details. I wanted something like elegant. I wanted something that again just remind me every day, in case sometimes I feel anxious again back in the future, like that I can go through it. But again, it was not easy, and I wanted something elegant and something that of course I could cover easily. There's like no problem. And again, I mean, even my patient are like, oh, this is so pretty, etc. So I mean, I was so careful about getting a tattoo, and he doesn't like it, even though he
No,
came. I mean, no, no,
I
no.
like
He
it.
doesn't like tattoos. But even though he came with me because I was scared, I was like, I want to do it, but I'm scared. So he came with me, and in the end, he said, like, you know what? I really like it because it has a lot of small, pretty details. So thanks to the guy who made me this tattoo, I really appreciate his job. I think he's such an artist. But anyway, again, I'm so happy with my decision. I don't regret. I just still being myself, but stronger. So this is the meaning of this tattoo.
People are saying that it matches your top, matches your shirt.
Yeah,
By the way, Beamba came over here and she was all wet, but I didn't realize it. But
it
it's
has been
raining
it has
pretty
been
hard
raining.
outside, and it's not even close to the rainy season yet. But this is our first rain of the year today.
Yeah, it has been raining the whole live stream actually.
It was really cloudy this evening, and we thought it was going to rain.
Yeah, and actually it rained.
And another new channel member. Thank you so much, Mark. Really appreciate you joining as a channel member. By the way, I was thinking about adding a perk for channel members that if a video is ready before Saturday, that I'll post it as available for channel members to watch before Saturday. So you get to watch it early. What do you think about that perk? Is that something you would enjoy? You need that tennis racket bug zapper in your life. Yeah,
we have a lot.
We have quite a few around the house, and I think a lot of mosquitoes are coming in the house tonight.
Because of the rain. And actually, a friend recommended us a plaquitas. Maybe I'm gonna share the photo on my Instagram because we love them. Actually, I used to be some kind of allergic of some like one of those, and I couldn't use it. But we've been struggling a lot with mosquitoes.
Are you talking about the thing you plug into?
Yeah,
the
you
outlet?
plug it, but that specific ones. I don't know about the others, but I just know that I was allergic, and I mean, we were using this and we love it because it doesn't smell to actually
But
anything.
and what she's
And
talking about, it's to keep the mosquitoes away. You
kill it.
You plug it into the outlet, and then it has like this little blue strip in there. And then I didn't know that it killed the mosquitoes. I thought it was just like repelling them. But yeah, we've noticed fewer mosquitoes around since getting those things. What are you looking at?
I don't know. I just saw. Hola, Mai y Jordan. Do you think the price of living is less in Mazatlan? Yeah, of course.
Much less.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, Malia, channel member.
Malia.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate that. Wife asked if you've been to Nayarit. Have you been to Nayarit?
I think so.
So,
but not. It was a long time ago.
I've been to Sayulita, and I've been to Tepic, and Nuevo Vallarta and Nayarit. I forget. Why is the cost of living so much in Querétaro? I don't know. It's a city that's growing fast. So I suppose that's messing with the supply and demand of homes available, but also it's not just homes, it's everything. It's a cost of transportation, the cost of Ubers, the cost of restaurants, the cost of parking.
Everything.
Pretty much everything is higher here than in Mazatlan. Leah says, finally back to work after the broken leg. Oof. I bet that was rough.
Yeah.
I've never broken a big bone. The only bone I've broken in my body is this one right here. So, but yeah, I imagine the pain of a broken leg. Whew. Jordan, I rent a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a huge backyard for 3,700 per month. It's an old house, but I like it. So earlier, by the way, got everyone watching earlier, he said, I'm calling you he, but I actually don't know if you're male or female, so I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong. But he's living in Los Mochis in Sinaloa. So 3-bed, 2-bath house in Los Mochis, which is a city that I really enjoyed, and it's $200 a month approximately.
Wow.
Just so you can get an idea of what kind of like living situation you can find for a lower price if you get away from the super popular areas, the super popular cities. And by the way, I'm assuming that's pesos, right? There's no way that you're paying $3,700 a month for a 3-bed, 2-bath house, an older house in Los Mochis. It's got to be pesos. So, yeah, it's pesos. He said I need like 700 US dollars per month to live, including food and gasoline, and having that 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Yes, that is pesos, and I'm a he. Okay, good. Cool. You got to pay to ask questions? No, anyone can ask a question. We'll prioritize the super chats, but no, you don't have to pay. David says, I just joined in, so forgive me. Are you seriously considering leaving Querétaro? So when we were in Mazatlan, Maya was like, we should buy a house here.
But I mean, we've thought about this before, and I mean, I don't have any plans of only living in Querétaro, like permanently. We have thought about having a second place to live when here is super warm or super cold, no, super cold, like especially a beach destination. That would be cool, but not like, okay, let's move to Mazatlan or somewhere else. Actually, no, because I have my life already here, and he has like accept that part. So again, this is just something like, uh, in case we will move somewhere at the cold part of the year here in Querétaro, we will definitely consider Mazatlan, but that's all.
But yeah, I would love to do that where we're living here in like the summer and the months surrounding summer, and then going to a beach destination and maybe living there 6 months of the year. And
Yeah, because we perfectly know that beach destinations like during the summer or like spring, it could get super warm and humid, and we don't like that. Neither of us like that. So it's like when it's cooler and better, it would be nice, but that's
and Maya's pretty sensitive to changes in temperatures. Like she can get sick from like drastic changes in temperatures. So uh, I, for that reason too, I also wouldn't want to go to one of the hotter destinations in the summer.
Mm.
Oh. I was surprised when she came in here all wet. Steven says, I've lived in Mazatlan for 5 years, and let me tell you, the heat gets oppressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can get hot and humid there. Thankfully, it's a little bit cooler and a little less humid than many other of the beach destinations in Mexico, but that doesn't mean it's not uncomfortable. Arturo says, is her name Maya or Amaya?
Mayra.
That's
Mayra.
Mayr, and Mai for short, May. Please pronounce it Mazatlan. No lo Anglo pronuncies Mazatlan.
I mean, it's hard.
It's a difficult word for me to say. I was practicing it earlier today.
Yeah.
Mazatlan.
And it's not his mother language. I mean, I had a lot of problems with the pronunciation. Like, I have a lot of problems like pronouncing a lot of words in English. And when I was learning French, I was struggling to pronounce a lot of like words in French, because when you are growing and start learning some kind of language, your tongue moves differently and gets stronger in a different way. So that's why we have an accent, actually, by the way our tongue it's working since we are kids. So that's normal for him to not being able to pronounce okay, or it's harder for him to pronounce some word because his tongue has developed different than mine.
And also, this isn't Spanish.
Yeah,
So,
I mean-
like, I've been learning Spanish for a little while now, and I've gotten a lot better at learning how to pronounce words in Spanish, but that doesn't help me pronounce Mazatlan, which is not Spanish.
Mhm.
And like, there are these, I forget which language the Tlan comes from, but it's one of the indigenous languages here.
Yeah. So Kelly, hi guys. I've lived in Mazatlan for many years. I really recommend it. Very safe, amazing people and food. By the way, we're planning to include some of this, uh, opinion of people who live there in our next video, because we perfectly know that a lot of people is concerned about Mazatlan safety. So if you would like to be part
yes.
of it, and you know somebody else who would like to be part of our video, you don't have to include any personal data. Just try to send us a maximum a minute or 60 seconds video that you can record with your phone in horizontal like mode, and tell us about your experience. I think it will be like really enriching, not just for foreigners but also for Mexicans, because I was afraid to go to Mazatlan too. But yeah, if you want to do it, please keep in touch with us by Instagram or Facebook. We will really appreciate if you help us, because I mean, this was that was just our experience being there, and it was really, really, really nice. But we perfectly know that much more about what we can think or feel about Mazatlan, it counts more about what people who's already living there have to say about it. And we want, because we want people to speak about it, no matter if it's like positive point or a negative point. We would really appreciate, so we will be able to include it to our video next Saturday. So please keep in touch with us so we can do it properly.
Yeah, because we're making this video right now. We're working, well, we already recorded it, but it's being put together right now, and it's basically our experience there. Well, in Mazatlan, things we saw and did and ate and all that. But as a part of that video, since a lot of people are concerned about the safety there, we wanted to like go a little bit more in depth as to what we felt like the safety levels were like, but also what people living there think about the safety. So we had this idea to like reach out to some people and have them record a short video that's like talking about how long they've been living there, what they think of the safety. Is it dangerous? Can you go out? Whatever you have to say about it. So if you're currently living in Mazatlan and you would like to be in a video or would like to contribute, we would really appreciate that. And basically what we're asking for is a short video that's shot horizontally, and preferably like 60 seconds or less, just like saying how long you've been there, how long you've been living there, and what your opinions are on the safety there. And if you're interested in that, I'm going to put our email that you can send that video to in the chat box here. And anyone who wants to be a part of this upcoming video, if you currently live in Mazatlan, we'd really appreciate that.
Or another way, I perfectly know by experience that being in front of the camera might be a little bit intimidating. So if you would like to share your experience and you live in Mazatlan, or you know somebody who does, You can also send us an email or what like write your experience in an image or whatever like you prefer, so we can include it as some kind of text in the video.
Oh
But
yeah, we can do that too.
the most like the most people who are contributing to our video, we will like highly appreciate it. So don't get worried if you don't want to be in front of the camera. It doesn't matter. Just put in contact with us like at that email or at the Tangerine Travels website, or leaving a comments. We are gonna make a post where you can leave your comments, especially for that video. And or also you can text me by Instagram. Like we're gonna be checking that, so we'll be able to share it in our next Saturday video.
Yeah, and like, so you can go visit a place and you can feel safe, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it is safe. Like, just because something didn't happen to you, it doesn't mean that bad stuff doesn't happen. So we thought it'd be valuable to get the input from people who are actually living there. I think I have an idea what people are going to say, but I don't know.
So it will be really interesting to show to everybody. I mean, we are just interested on showing what it is. I mean, it's negative or positive, we are gonna show it. And anyway, the last decision, it's always yours. We are just giving some information, and that's all.
So yeah, anyone who wants to record that video, we'd really
Or
appreciate
send
it.
us your comment about living in Mazatlan. It will be highly appreciated.
Tourist places are generally safe, with the exception of Acapulco. And Acapulco is an example of a place where I went and I felt safe and I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot.
And I didn't like it. So, I mean, I've been there, and it's not a place that I will keep going for a long time. But again, it's just my opinion. Maybe I went to Acapulco maybe like 8 years ago, and at that time I didn't enjoy it. Maybe if I go nowadays, I would change my mind. But yeah, it depends on your mood, and it depends on what you like or you don't like. But it's completely respectable. So.
Mexican Spec says, that is true. Please, if you're going to make a video for these guys, include how long you've been living there. Yes, that's basically shorter than 60 seconds, your opinion on safety, and yes, how long you've been living there. That's the three things.
Yeah,
we're
or
hoping
again,
for.
if you leave a comment, or if you send an image with your what your thoughts about living in Mazatlan, it would be great if you could include how much time you would be living there. We don't need your name. We're not going to show anything else. We don't need to expose anybody who doesn't want to show themselves in front of the camera. We just would like to know as much opinions or and thoughts as we can. So
And from both
spread the voice.
from both
We really-
Mexicans and foreigners.
Yeah, we really want people participating. It
And-
doesn't have to be in English. It could be in Spanish too.
Yeah.
So don't feel afraid of speaking out if you want to. If you don't speak English, we highly appreciate it anyway.
Okay, so when she was asked for help last night, it was in the San Francisco Bay Area. Okay. Can you do a video in Celaya? I could.
No.
Well, okay, so there is this video that I want to do in Celaya.
But I think it's not a good idea.
Yes.
I mean, as we said earlier, we love to travel. We love to show many places
I'll be right back.
with all of you, but we don't like taking unnecessary risk, and we definitely don't feel safe in Celaya. So I have patients that live there, and I know what they say about it. But again, honestly, I don't think right now that we are going to go to Celaya and make a video there. So I'm so sorry. Maybe when things get better. But yeah, that's all. You want to ask me something special while he is back? I'm gonna read the previous comments. Peter said, I will also be interested in information from people who used to live in Mazatlan, why they moved there, what they enjoy while residing there, why they choose to leave. Yeah, I mean, everything you want to share about Mazatlan, I mean, the reasons why you stay there, how you feel about safety, if you left, why you did that. I mean, everything is welcome. So we're just opening this chance in this video, and I think that will be really something that I would like to keep doing more often, like to people speak out and just make videos more rich, not only about our thoughts, but also what people think. So yeah, that's all. What do you want to travel to in Mexico, Mai? I mean, there are so many places here in Mexico that I haven't visited yet. We would like to go to Baja California.
Oh yeah, we were just
We will-
talking about that.
But yeah, I mean, uh, we would love to go there. We would love to go to Ensenada. We would love to go to
Like La
Valle
Paz
de
and
Guadalupe, La Paz, all that area. I would love to go to Valquirico, which is a place that it looks like the little Talia. It's so pretty.
yeah,
I would
it's like
love,
this.
yeah,
How do I describe it?
like
It's-
a medieval
yeah, it's
town,
like a
but
medieval
it's
town
amazing.
in the middle of Mexico. It's crazy.
Yeah,
At least that's what it looks like.
I would like to go back to Gilitla. There are so many places. There's this hotel called Hotel Tapasoli that it looks basically like the Shire of the Lost, like the Lord of the Rings.
I forgot about that place.
Yes, I mean, I'm always bothering him doing this on his face. So yeah, I mean, there are a lot of places. I mean, they asked, what about Tijuana? I haven't been there. I would love to go back to Monterrey. I would love to go back to Merida, Veracruz. I haven't been there for a long time. There are a lot of places I would like to go. I mean, I need more money and time to do that dance, just the motivation of. There are a lot of places here.
Hey Bimba, do you want a new husky, sister?
My favorite Mexican beer, Bethany. Well, actually, I'm not drinking alcohol right now because of my antidepressant pills. So I like quit on that. But when I used to drink a beer, I honestly like the stouts. I mean, the dark and heavy beers. So I would say, for example, that my favorite brand of Mexican beer, it's Minerva. It has different styles of beer. Also, they have a restaurant in Guadalajara where you can also have desserts and whole food made with beer. So if you really like beer, that's a place that it will be really interesting. And the Minerva Stout, it's extraordinary. And also they have a special edition that they just sell once per year, which is the Christmas edition, that it has a chocolate on it. And it's like having a stout with that heavy, bitter taste of cocoa. It's highly recommended. It has a lot of alcohol. It's kind of strong, but yeah, I like it a lot. And also here in Querétaro, we have Cervecería Hercules, which is also having any other good options of beer. But yeah, Minerva Stout is one of my favorite. Yeah.
By the way, I didn't know that this was a thing, but you mentioned that you're not drinking because of your antidepressant pills, but that's actually not for depression, it's for anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm taking antidepressants for the one who are new in the channel. I'm taking antidepressants because I've been dealing with anxiety for the last 12 years of my life. And obviously that's a long time. I've been taking different kind of treatment like psychological treatment, etc., and it wasn't getting better, or I wasn't like get out of it completely. So at this time I decided to go to the psychiatrist, and that's the treatment. I'm feeling completely okay right now. So if everything keeps going okay, I'm gonna stop with the medication in July. So keep for that.
Judith asks, have you guys been to Tasco?
I went to Taxco a lot of time ago, and
I went there a couple years ago.
I like it a lot. But I mean, I was maybe too young, and I was not like enjoying the same things that I'm enjoying right now. So I would really like to open myself to discover the world with my adult eyes because I've
Yeah.
changed a lot. So
I think you'd fall in love with the Saturday silver market there, where you can buy various jewelry.
yeah, I mean,
It's amazing.
it's always nice to open ourselves to the things that we think we already know, and see how we discover about them. And if we don't like it, it's fine. But it's fine to have new surprises or gladly surprises about those things. So yeah,
Harrison says Minerva Lager is my favorite too.
Minerva is really good actually.
How about van life? Max asked. You know, Max, I think I could do van life for a week. But try to like live long term in a van. What I know about myself, I think I'd be miserable.
What kind of things make you more anxious? Uh, well, it depends. I mean, for example, I really was a highly perfectionist person. And something that I've been working a lot the last years of my life, it's that. So for example, I'm trying to relax, for example, about like not being super strict on my routine, because if I didn't have a very specific routine, that made me anxious. If my space was not perfectly, like seriously perfectly clean, that used to make me anxious. I still can't stand super crowded places, because that still make me feel anxious. Another thing that makes me feel anxious was going to the movies, like with the dark uh, room and the flashlights of the movies. That really makes me feel really, really anxious. So uh, it's more that like speaking in front of like a lot of people was making me anxious. But yeah, I mean, I'm taking like psychological therapy and also my medicine, and I'm definitely feeling much better. Going alone in the street was something that it made me feel really, really, really bad because I was not feeling safe. But yeah, nowadays I'm so happy that I'm able to walk the dogs like without his company. I mean, I really appreciate when we are together, but being able to walk alone, it feels really, really good, because I used to be that I was dependent on everybody, and that's, trust me, that's not a nice feeling.
I never knew what anxiety was like. By the way, good night, Malia. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it, and thank you for becoming a channel member. Really appreciate that as well. Uh, but I want to say that I never knew what anxiety was like. I my whole life I've always been like really relaxed. Um, it takes a lot for me to get basically anything but relaxed. uh, but then one day I got prescribed this thing called Reopan, which is for like acid reflux here. And after taking that, I experienced anxiety for the first time in my life.
It's really
And
hard.
it was scary. Like I had no idea what it was like. When people said they were anxious, I didn't know what that meant. Or when they said they had anxiety, I didn't know what that meant until I experienced it myself. And it was like,
You feel like dying. You feel like you're going to die, like you're in a very, like, really, really bad danger, state of danger. All the cortisol goes super high in your body, your heart rate, it's really, really hard. You start sweating, you cannot control your thoughts, and it can be really, really scary. So unfortunately, I went through a personal situation, like with an ex-boyfriend who started took me at that time. Also at that time, I went out of the medical school. My family situation was really hard at that moment. I had a lot of factors, and also I didn't knew that I had hypothyroidism. So my thyroid wasn't working okay. And when you have thyroid problems, you could easily have anxiety and depression. So I was going through that and I didn't even knew it. So I was diagnosed many years before, and even though when you're having a thyroid problem, even when you're taking the medication, sometimes it's not easy to quit on symptoms. So they have to find my specific doses and everything. That's now that I'm feeling better. But yeah, I mean, uh, anxiety is really, really hard to live with.
yeah, when I experienced that, I I felt terrified. But at the same time that I was terrified, I was thinking, I have nothing to be scared about. Why am I so scared right now? And I, it was like this huge internal struggle that I was having, and I stopped taking that Riopan stuff right away as soon as I realized that that's what was causing it. Because every time I would take it, I would get an anxiety attack shortly thereafter. But even after I stopped taking it, I continued to have anxiety attacks for a couple of months after that. So yeah, it was scary, but at least now I know what an anxiety attack feels like.
And actually, that helped me a lot because he had experienced anxiety. And honestly, my anxiety levels were super high, that I was having like those panic attacks, like out of nothing. I mean, I remember that once I was in the bathroom, like uh, doing my hair or something, and I started having an anxiety attack, and I couldn't even move. I was paralyzed in the bathroom. So I texted him and I told him, you know what, I can't even move. And I was feeling really, really sick at that moment because of anxiety. But he perfectly knew what I was going through. I remember that he came to me, he like hold my bag, which really helped me. And he was not stopping to telling me that everything was going to be okay. And that helped me a lot. So when people like gives you that kind of support and know what anxiety is, it feels so relieving, because a lot of people doesn't know how what anxiety is and it might judge you.
Like it,
But in this case, he already knew about it, and there was a point of where we both were sitting and talking, and we were like, you know what, and I was telling him, you know what, love, uh, we are making a life together. I'm becoming more independent. I'm doing more stuff that I used to do in the past. And I cannot keep in my comfort zone feeling anxious, because unfortunately I was getting used to be anxious. So I was like, you know what? I cannot keep feeling in my being in my comfort zone. And yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Also my grandparents and my mother and a lot of family have a history of anxiety. I didn't knew it until I started presenting symptoms and I was diagnosed. But anyway, that's why I decided now in this point of my life to start taking a treatment. But obviously, I went out, like many changes in my life make me realize that I had to make any other changes and get out of my comfort zone, because sometimes not asking for treatment, it's also being in your comfort zone. It might be scary to receive any kind of help, but definitely it's worth it. And yeah, I just hope that with this medication, anxiety finally quits, because yeah, it's really really hard to live with anxiety.
If anyone in your life is ever having an anxiety attack, just being with them and like reassuring them that everything's going to be okay helps a lot.
Yeah, it really helps a lot. Or don't say anything at all. Just stay there, because it's gonna pass away. But at that moment, that people might feel like dying. So, or if you see someone in the street that is just staying or being paralyzed, we are not crazy. We are struggling through a very hard moment. So just be more human and try to help, or at least ask them if they need help, because I got paralyzed so many times in the street, and like to the point that I was like holding, like grabbing a poste or something that could hold me, or just like staying close to a wall. And a lot of people were passing by, seeing me crying, and nobody stopped to ask me if I needed something, if I was having a good time. So if you see somebody there struggling to move, at least ask them if they want help, because that's really nice.
On another topic, cauliflower says, "Oh, I didn't realize what that name was until I said it." Cauliflower.
So nice. So
That,
cute.
uh, Calle Angel Flores, Mazatlan, the prettiest street. Yeah, we actually came across that accidentally. We were at a restaurant. I forget the name of the restaurant, but it said like it was like the Cocina del Barrio or something like that. It said that out front. But we were up on the rooftop, and I was looking down the street, and I was like, "That looks really pretty down there with all those colorful homes. Like, I want to go down there after we leave this restaurant." So we went down there, and actually, apparently, it's a popular place to take photos in Mazatlan just because the street is so pretty. And as a matter of fact, there was a photo of that street in our hotel room, but we didn't even know where it was located.
Yeah, actually, if you are like, we discovered that when you see the map, it's actually called the La Calle de la Casa de Color, Las Casas de Colores, so the street of the colorful houses. And actually, it's that way, and it's so pretty. So we're gonna pick some other last questions.
Hansel
We're
Taveras.
leaving soon, so
What's the best route to Mazatlan from Texas? I would just put it in Google Maps and take the recommended Google Maps route. It will probably take you on the toll roads most of the way. Any others that you would like to answer or talk about?
I don't know. No, I think.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll just call it a night. Well, thank you all so much for joining the live stream, for asking questions, for participating, and thank you to the moderators for keeping the chat clean, and
Keep
to
in touch.
channel members and anyone sending super chats. Big thanks to you. Really appreciate it. Hope you all have a good night. And if you haven't seen it yet, go watch yesterday's video or one of the ones we made before that. There's been a lot of new videos released on the channel recently. So go check those out if you haven't, and we will see you later. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night. Buenas noches.